Welcome to winning-stl, where we have conversations about how St. Louis can best compete and win in the battle for talent, jobs, growth, and equity. Winning-stl is presented by Purina, who creates richer lives for pets and the people who love them, and has proudly called St. Louis home since 1894. Joining me today is Bob O'Laughlin, Chairman and CEO of Lodging Hospitality Management. LHM owns and operates 18 hotels, 14 restaurants, 7 attractions, and many other commercial properties in the metro area, including St. Louis Union Station, the Cheshire, 360 Westport, and the Pitch, to name a few. Bob, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Let's see, roughly, I think 18 hotels, 14 restaurants. This is a notoriously difficult space to be in. How have you managed this? What is the secret of LHM and the work that you do?
Well, I started out of college going to work for Hilton Hotels Corporation. And I started in Hartford, Connecticut. I went from Hartford to Cincinnati to Oakland to San Francisco. And then I decided after 9 years, I got an offer to come to St. Louis and run a company that had 8 hotels. We grew it to 60, and then we sold it. And then I started my own company about 38 years ago. And one by one, we just kept adding opportunities that came our way. And if I liked it, I'd either buy it or manage it and then go from there.
When you first got to St. Louis, I mean, you didn't have a connection, I don't think, to the town. You weren't from here. Were you thinking this might be a short stop and I'll move on to the next area? Or what were you thinking when you came here?
No, that's exactly right. Moving 5 times in 9 years, I thought St. Louis was going to be a 5-year drill.
Okay.
And then I've been here 44 years. So
I guess not.
Yeah, I fell in love with the Midwest, fell in love with St. Louis, and said, why move? This is a great city.
With all these properties, I know a lot going on in Westport, a lot going down in Union Station. What are you most excited about right now in your business holdings? What really is intriguing to you?
Well, the ones that we were fortunate, every time there was a downturn in the economy, there were iconic properties that became available. And basically the Cheshire Hotel, which is very unique type boutique hotel, became available. And lo and behold, they would accept it and I'd buy it. Hilton at the ballpark was owned by Marriott. And basically they gave the keys back to Mass Mutual. And Mass Mutual called me and said, do you want to buy it? And I said, sure. In bankruptcy was Union Station. And to me, this is an iconic property literally in the world.
Yes.
And so we had an opportunity to buy it for a ridiculously low price. And I just been blessed to have the opportunities to accumulate such iconic properties.
Well, and now Union Station, beyond its historical significance, is now a real entertainment center and complex. I mean, with the Ferris wheel and the aquarium and now being right next to City Park, it feels like a real renaissance in that area of downtown.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When we bought it, I bought it under the guise that one, it was 570 rooms, never knowing what I would do with it. But I was on the zoo board and I asked them, why we're the largest city in the United States without an aquarium? Why didn't you do it? And they said it was labor intensive. And basically they passed on it. And I said, would you mind if I would do it? And they said, sure, we'll help you with the project. So I created the aquarium and I said, why just do an aquarium? Why not do a Ferris wheel? So we added a Ferris wheel, a miniature golf, a ropes course. And why don't we do a light show? I did a 80-foot bar and I did a light show. And I hired a guy out of Orlando and he put this fabulous light show up there. And then he informed me, he said, you want a TIA award? And I said, what is that? He said, Theatrical Entertainment Association. You're going to get a tuxedo. It's like the Oscars. You're going to go out to LA and you're going to receive your award. So I went out there with my son and my partner, and they announced the first winner, which was Disney. And then the second one was Universal for Harry Potter. And then the third, they said, in the small budget category is St. Louis Union Station. So I couldn't help myself when I got there. I said, you know, the thing I'm most proud of, I'm in the small budget category. up against these behemoth
Yeah.
people, and everybody laughed. I can't tell you, every time I go down there, I pinch myself. This was the largest train station in the world.
That's right.
And everybody that went from the East Coast to the West Coast had to go through St. Louis. So I said to myself, you own a train station, you ought to own a train. So I bought 8 cars and an engine, and we created Polar Express. And we got the rights to Warner Brothers Polar Express. And every year we take families down to the riverfront, which is the North Pole. Last year, from Thanksgiving to the end of the year, we did 87,000 people. And to see people get off, the train or see the wheel, as beautiful as it at night, it really makes me feel good and proud of we accomplished something.
Bob, when I hear this, it reminds me of the maxim, make no small plans. You have not made small plans. You've made very big plans. I know when I have people in town, one of the stops we make is Union Station. So I wonder what the success that you've had and LHM has had tells you about the economic potential of St. Louis. What do you see about that? Do you see others, should have some of the same opportunities to have an impact like you have?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's here. And I think it just has to be funneled in the right direction because, we have one of the greatest zoos in the world.
That's right.
We've got the symphony. Basically, we have a planetarium, the Fox. I could go on and on. City Museum, the Arch.
Those last two are certainly the most unique things you're not going to find in any other city. Yeah.
I mean, you look at the cities we compete with: Kansas City, Indianapolis, Memphis. They don't have any what we have. Right. It's just a matter of getting an attitude of this is a region. Let's all of us that live here get behind the region. And push the assets and have more activities of bringing people in and showcase a great city.
Bob, do you think as someone who, albeit someone who's been here a long time, but as someone who wasn't born and raised here, do you think that actually let you see opportunities that maybe others didn't see?
No, absolutely. I looked at St. Louis and I said, whoa, there's potential here. And it's just a matter of getting behind that potential and promoting it and getting pride in it. And it's amazing, the people, and I love Midwestern people. I wouldn't move anywhere. But, people that live here and are born here don't have the appreciation of people that move here. You can see in all of our athletes that stay here after they, retire. And it's because it's a great city and the people are great. That's what's important.
You've made a lot of key investments in your past that are now paying off now. I wonder, using that kind of theme, what are investments you'd like to see this region make? And whether that is business investments or whether it's our politicians and what they prioritize, what would you like to see?
Well, again, I'll touch base on it. I think everybody lives here, including the politicians, should work as a region. It shouldn't be, we have a fractured, as you know, municipalities, the county, the city. And it's all about jobs and power. And we need to come together and say, we're St. Louis. I don't care whether you're in the county, you're in the municipality, you're in the city. We have assets that you have to be proud of, and you have to promote each one of those because each one is unique.
Do you think that's getting better on some fronts? Because I would say from a business standpoint, I see the business community definitely doing a better job at that. A little less fractured. I wonder if that's what your observation is.
Yeah, I see it coming, and I see it coming slowly. And I see it depends on the individuals that are involved with different projects. I go back to when I first moved here, the VP Fair would draw like 1 million people, one of the largest in the United States. They had Elton John as a leading person. Everybody was proud of it. They came down from wherever they lived in the area. And I'd like to see more of that happen where we all get together and we say, what can we bring to our city? How can we help it out? Whether it's a city, county, wherever it is, and help promote everything, every asset we have.
So, Bob, you've been here for, I think you said 44 years.
44 years.
So I think a lot of times we look back and kind of lament as a community, oh, we used to have this or we used to have that. I wonder from your perspective, what's better from when you first came here? What is better today?
Almost everything. I mean, when I first came here, you didn't have Ballpark Village and the Cardinal Stadium the way it looks today.
Right.
Our
Looking at it
hotels,
right now, it looks great.
it looks great. And, the apartment complex that's here, City Museum was just started. I could go on and on of what has been added. And it has a much greater look to it now than it did when I first came here.
That's interesting. I think sometimes we have to take that view because it can be easy in the whatever the problem du jour is to focus on it. And we do have them and they need to be solved. We shouldn't hide away from them, but we also shouldn't miss when good things are happening.
No, absolutely. As we all know, the news media, if there's a fire or a shooting, that's what everybody follows. And then everybody has a tendency to complain about, woe is me, I'm not as good as Chicago, I'm not as good as this. Well, we're as good. We're better than a lot of cities.
Yeah.
And trust me, I think we have a great city here. So get behind it and promote it. And I know that's not easy to do because everybody wants to complain about things.
Yeah.
But, take some pride. I mean, when I lived in San Francisco, the byline was everybody's favorite city. I love New York. You've got to come
Heard
up
of that
with,
one.
Yeah, I heard of that. You come up with something in St. Louis that says STL. You go to a soccer game and you hear them chanting STL, STL. You walk out of it and you feel good because there's a great crowd.
Yes.
They love what's going on, and that will perpetuate itself if you get behind it.
So Bob, we've talked a lot about, I think, what we both love and what we want everyone to get behind in our region. What are the things that, because we also have to be clear-eyed at some of the challenges we face. So where, whether it's a prioritization or a focus that you'd like to see, hey, we've got to do better on this front.
One word, leadership. And I think it has to be on our elected officials to take a leadership role to say, let's get behind something, let's be positive, let's do something and get results. Leadership in the business community has to get behind things and say, let's do something that has never been done before. I love the Robert Kennedy line, not the current one, but the senior, that said, some people look at things and ask why. I look at things and say, why not? We've tried to, in our company, take things that weren't quite good, fix them up, and make them spectacular. And I think if everybody does that, the tide will rise.
So leadership, I think, lends itself to philanthropy. And Bob, you've done a lot of that yourself. You are involved in as many philanthropic efforts as probably that I know of. You're frequently behind the scenes, supporting financially, supporting with your name, lots of causes, lots of efforts. One of them I'm really particularly thankful is your decision to chair the Old Newsboys campaign for this year. And what's exciting about that is that you're doing that with not only your son, but you're doing it with your grandson.
St. Louis has been good to me. We've done well here, and I want to give back. I went on the St. Louis University's board. I went on WashU's board, and we just completed the Champion Center, which is for student athletes at St. Louis University. And then, I've been blessed that my son has worked with me since he was 15 and now runs a day-to-day operation. And then 3 months ago, my grandson joined our company. So, what a dream for somebody to work with their son and their grandson. And so when Old Newsboys came to me and said, would you help us out? I said, sure. And they said, would you mind having your son and grandson involved? I said, thrilled.
Heck yeah.
So we're behind it. And any cause that makes the city a better city, we're behind, and we're thrilled to do it.
Well, as someone who's on the board and, there's so many worthy charities, this is one that's near and dear to my heart, and it really does serve some of the groups that otherwise I think get left behind from some of the bigger groups who also do fine work. So on behalf of these kids and on behalf of Old Newsboys, I want to thank you for that. I'm sure your name and your efforts will drive a great campaign. I want to thank you for all your leadership. I want to thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me, and I appreciate it.